$4.45 million. That's the average cost of a single data breach, according to IBM's 2023 Cost of a Data Breach report. And here's the part that should get everyone's attention. The most common ways attackers got in weren't sophisticated zero-day exploits. They were phishing emails and stolen credentials. Now add another reality to the equation. There are more than 4.8 million unfilled cybersecurity positions worldwide, according to the ISCC Square 2024 Workforce Study. Most organizations simply can't hire enough people to solve the problem. So instead of asking, how do we buy more security, let's ask a better question. How do we become dramatically harder to compromise using the tools we already have? Hi, I'm Bruce with Cyber Ballet, and welcome to this month's webinar titled 5 Low-Cost Cybersecurity Controls Just for Small Teams. In this session, I'm going to walk you through practical, low-cost security controls that you can begin implementing this month. We'll cover SPF, DKIM, and DMARC to strengthen your email defenses, tuned multi-factor authentication to protect identities, one-page incident response playbooks that your team can actually follow under pressure, user-friendly phishing response scripts, and routine SACS access reviews that eliminate unnecessary risk before it becomes a problem. And we're not stopping at theory. For every control, you'll receive practical templates, implementation checklists, and trainer-ready scripts designed specifically for small businesses, nonprofits, government agencies, educational institutions, and communities that have historically been underrepresented in technology. Because security isn't about having the biggest budget, it's about consistently doing the right things, but exceptionally well. Keep these numbers in mind as we go. Verizon's 2023 Data Breach Investigations Report found that 74% of breaches involve the human element. That means reducing the time between a phishing click and your response can make an enormous difference. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center reported nearly $2.9 billion in losses from business email compromise in 2023 alone, making email security and financial workflow some of the highest value places to improve. By the end of this webinar, you'll walk away with a practical 30 to 60 and 90-day implementation roadmap, links to trusted free tools, and a clear action plan you can start using immediately. No hype. No vendor sales pitch, just practical cybersecurity that works. So let's get into it. SPF, DKIM, and DMARC are 3 of the simplest and most effective ways to stop attackers from impersonating your domain. The best part? They're free to implement on virtually every modern DNS hosting platform. Let's start with SPF. Think of it as your organization's guest list. It tells the internet exactly which mail servers are authorized to send email on your behalf. Publish a single SPF record, something like V equals SPF1, include your provider, minus all, keep it to 1 record, because duplicate SPF records can actually break authentication and generate what's known as a permanent error. Next comes DKIM. Instead of proving who sent the email, DKIM proves the message hasn't been altered in transit. Enable 2048-bit DKIM within your email platform. Publish the selector records in DNS, and every outbound message receives a cryptographic signature that receiving mail systems can verify. The final piece, and arguably the most powerful, is DMARC. DMARC ties everything together. Start safely with a policy of P equals none so you can monitor what's happening without affecting mail delivery. Collect the reports, fix any legitimate systems that aren't properly aligned, then confidently move to quarantine, and eventually reject once you're certain only authorized senders are using your domain. And here's why this matters today more than ever. As of 2024, both Google and Yahoo require bulk email senders to have DMARC in place. This isn't just considered a cybersecurity best practice anymore, it's becoming a baseline requirement for trusted email delivery. A few practical tips before you leave this section. Configure your DMARC RUA and RUF reporting addresses so the reports go to a mailbox, or a free reporting service, that someone actually monitors. Before moving to a reject policy, make sure your visible from address aligns with every legitimate service sending email on your behalf. Don't guess whether your records are working. Use free validation tools like MX Toolbox or DMARCion's Inspector to verify your configuration, and take inventory of every third-party application that sends email using your domain, from your CRM to your marketing platform to your help desk software. And if you ever need executive support for the project, remember this. The U.S. government required federal agencies to deploy DMARC years ago through CISR binding Operational Directive 18.01. If it's important enough to become a federal mandate, it's probably important enough for your organization too. Let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions in cybersecurity. Just because you have multi-factor authentication doesn't mean you're fully protected. Not all MFA methods provide the same level of security. App-based authenticators that generate time-based one-time passwords, and even better, FIDO2 security keys, are significantly more resistant to phishing than traditional text messages. So where should you start? Focus first on the accounts that would cause the most damage if they were compromised: your email platform, financial systems, administrator accounts, and remote access services. While you're at it, disable legacy protocols like IMAP and POP whenever possible. Those older protocols can allow attackers to bypass MFA entirely, creating an unnecessary gap in your defenses. Now let's make MFA work smarter. Enable protections like number matching, location awareness, and risk-based authentication policies. These features dramatically reduce push fatigue attacks, the kind where users get bombarded with approval requests until they finally click accept just to make them stop. Here's a statistic that's worth remembering. Microsoft has reported that properly deployed multi-factor authentication can block over 99.9% of automated account attacks. Think about that for a moment. The goal isn't simply to enable MFA, the goal is to maximize coverage across your organization, because every account without MFA is another opportunity for an attacker. As you roll this out, keep the experience practical and inclusive. Use free authenticator apps whenever possible. Provide backup recovery codes, and make sure your recovery process works for employees who may not always have reliable access to a mobile phone. Don't try to deploy everything overnight. Start with your finance and human resources teams, learn from the rollout, then expand department by department while tracking adoption through your identity provider's reporting dashboard. And finally, don't overlook the human side of MFA. Teach your users one simple rule: if you receive an authentication request that you didn't initiate, never approve it. If multiple prompts suddenly appear, don't ignore them. Treat them as a potential security incident and report them immediately. Technology provides the protection, prepared people make it effective. Here's something every security professional eventually learns. Incidents don't wait for you to find the binder. They don't wait for someone to remember where the policy is stored, and they certainly don't wait while people debate what to do next. That's why every organization should have simple, one-page incident response playbooks for its most likely scenarios: phishing, business email compromise, lost or stolen devices, and suspicious multi-factor authentication prompts. When something goes wrong, your team shouldn't be reading a 100-page manual. They should be following a one-page checklist they can execute immediately. Every playbook should answer 5 critical questions: who's responsible? How quickly should the incident be reported? What evidence needs to be preserved? What are the very first containment steps? And who needs to be contacted, from IT and leadership to legal and finance? For business email compromise, don't wait until money is already moving. Prepare your response language now. Have pre-approved email templates and wire transfer hold procedures ready so your finance team knows exactly how to pause a payment and verify every request using a trusted phone number, not by replying to the suspicious email thread. Then practice, not once a year, practice regularly. A focused 20-minute tabletop exercise every quarter can uncover weaknesses long before attackers do. Document what worked, identify what didn't, then update the playbook using what your team actually learned. Here are 3 practical habits that make a tremendous difference. Keep offline copies of your playbooks, because during a cyber attack, email may be the very system you can no longer trust. Define clear completion criteria for every incident. Don't simply say we're done. Instead, verify outcomes such as the wire transfer was confirmed or stopped, or the compromised account has been reset and every active session and authentication token has been revoked. Those simple checkpoints prevent incidents from lingering longer than they should. And finally, know your reporting obligations before an emergency happens. Whether that means notifying regulators, reporting to CISR, or sharing intelligence through your sector's information sharing and analysis center, make those decisions now, not in the middle of an active incident. The best incident response plans aren't the longest. They're the ones your team can confidently execute when every minute counts. One of the biggest shifts an organization can make is changing how it thinks about its people. Your employees are not your weakest link. They're your largest network of security sensors. The question isn't whether someone will eventually receive a phishing email. The question is, will they know exactly what to do when it happens? That's why every organization needs a simple, blame-free reporting process. If people are afraid they'll be embarrassed or punished for reporting something suspicious, they'll hesitate. And in cybersecurity, hesitation gives attackers time. Instead, teach everyone 3 simple actions they can remember. First, click the Report Phishing button if your email system provides one. Second, forward the suspicious message to your organization's monitored security mailbox. And third, if an email requests a payment change, a wire transfer, or updated banking information, stop immediately and verify the request by calling a trusted phone number you already have, not one provided in the email itself. You don't have to overwhelm people with dozens of warning signs. Focus on the 2 that matter most: unexpected requests involving money and unexpected multi-factor authentication prompts. Then connect each warning sign to one clear action your employees should take immediately. Keep your guidance simple, write it in plain language, offer it in multiple languages whenever possible, and make sure the examples reflect the communities and cultures your organization serves. People are much more likely to respond correctly when they recognize themselves in the training. Here's another small change that has a surprisingly big impact. Be specific about timing. Don't simply tell employees to report suspicious activity as soon as possible. Instead, say something like, "Please report suspicious emails within 15 minutes. Clear expectations help your security team investigate and contain threats while they're still manageable." Show employees what to do after a mistake too. Demonstrate how to recall a misdirected email when possible, how to contact IT directly without navigating a ticketing system, and how to reach someone after normal business hours if the situation can't wait until morning. Finally, think carefully about what you celebrate. Don't measure success by the number of phishing links people clicked. Measure and recognize the number of suspicious emails that were reported. Share those numbers with your organization each month, because every report represents someone paying attention, and every report is another opportunity to stop an attack before it becomes an incident. Let's finish with one of the most overlooked security controls in modern organizations: access. Not firewalls, not antivirus, access. Because attackers don't always break in, very often they simply log in using an account that should have been removed months ago. The good news is that you don't need an expensive identity governance platform to reduce that risk. You can accomplish a great deal with exports, spreadsheets, and a disciplined monthly review process. Start by exporting your user accounts from Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. Compare those accounts against your HR roster. Disable accounts that haven't been used in 90 days. Remove access from employees who have left the organization. And don't forget shared mailboxes, because those are often overlooked and can remain accessible long after someone has departed. Then take a closer look at your most critical applications. Every quarter, review finance systems, document repositories, and other sensitive business platforms using the principle of least privilege. Ask a simple question: does this person still need this level of access to perform their job today? If the answer is no, remove it. While you're there, inspect OAuth permissions and third-party application connections. Many organizations grant these integrations once and never look at them again. Yet a compromised third-party application can sometimes access organizational data without ever triggering a traditional multi-factor authentication challenge. Success isn't measured by how many reviews you schedule. It's measured by completion. Aim to certify 100% of your finance and administrative applications every quarter. Track how long it takes to remove unnecessary access. Then report those numbers to leadership so progress is visible across the organization. Here are 3 habits that make the entire process much easier. Whenever possible, enable single sign-on so users authenticate through one trusted identity. Log administrative actions to a lightweight security information and event management platform, or even a well-maintained CSV archive if that's where you're starting. And if your cloud platform includes built-in risk reporting, use it to prioritize your reviews. If it doesn't, a simple spreadsheet works remarkably well. List the application owner, its data sensitivity, and the date of its next scheduled review. Finally, remember that exceptions should never become permanent. Clearly define who has the authority to approve elevated access. Set expiration dates for every exception and review them regularly, because privileges have a way of accumulating over time, unless someone intentionally removes them. Strong cybersecurity isn't just about keeping attackers out. It's about making sure the right people have the right access for exactly as long as they need it, and not a day longer. So where do you begin? Not with everything, just with the next right step. Over the next 30 days, focus on building a strong foundation. Publish your SPF and DKIM records. Deploy DMARC with a P=none policy so you can begin collecting reports. Require multi-factor authentication for your finance teams, administrators, and other high-risk accounts. And make sure every employee has access to a simple one-page phishing response playbook. By day 60, it's time to strengthen those controls. Move your DMARC policy to quarantine. Disable legacy email protocols that can bypass modern authentication. Pilot security keys for your highest risk users. And bring your team together for a tabletop exercise so everyone has the opportunity to practice before a real incident occurs. By 90 days, you'll be ready to mature your program even further. Move DMARC to a reject policy. Expand multi-factor authentication across your entire organization. Complete your first comprehensive SaaS access review. And publish your first cybersecurity metrics report so leadership can clearly see the progress being made. As you measure success, keep your dashboard simple. Track your current DMARC enforcement level. Measure multi-factor authentication coverage across your organization. Record how quickly phishing reports reach your security team. And monitor how many unnecessary access permissions are removed within 5 business days. Those 4 metrics tell a remarkably clear story about your organization's security maturity. Remember, you don't have to build this alone. CyberBallet provides practical implementation checklists, trainer-ready scripts, and links to affordable or completely free tools designed specifically for small organizations, nonprofits, educational institutions, government agencies, and communities that have historically had fewer opportunities to access enterprise-level cybersecurity resources. And if your progress slows, don't wait until everything is perfect. Deploy one DNS record, launch one MFA pilot, publish one incident response playbook, complete one access review. Small, consistent improvements create lasting security. Perfection rarely does. If you'd like guidance along the way, we'd be happy to help. Join one of our office hours, schedule a coaching session, or let us review your DMARC reports, your MFA deployment, or your security metrics together. Because cybersecurity isn't a destination. It's a journey of continuous improvement. And every step you take today makes your organization stronger tomorrow. Thank you for spending this time with us. We look forward to helping you build cyber confidence.